What is going on, guys? Heart Pirates TCG here, bringing you a video about our Nationals What Deck to Play Crisis, which I will talk about in just a little bit. I think it's really interesting. But real quick, guys, I want to go ahead and say that I just started streaming on Twitch some video games. I will link my Twitch down below. If you guys want to check me out, it's Heart Pirates After Dark. I will be playing, I've been playing Remnant 2. I could play, Dead by Daylight, League of Legends. I just bought Liza P, Monster Hunter World, Vampire Survivors, all of these decks, right? All of these games I'm very excited to play, so feel free to pop in. We'll talk about sports, games, anime, TV shows, One Piece if you want to. Yeah, so just check out the link below. So let's go to this right here. So what are we going to play for Nationals? So like I said, everyone thinks that Sakazuki is the best deck, and I feel like it is, right? I feel like it's the best deck. But if so many people play Sakazuki, it really opens up a world where people can play Enel. Enel's really good into Sakazuki. Maybe not really good, but like it's obviously beaten multiple Sakazukis in pretty big tournaments. My tournament, Eggman's tournament, the regionals, it won the regionals. Like, it's just done really freaking well. Even though everyone thinks Sakazuki is the best deck, Enel definitely has merit to be the best deck. So when you start throwing that in the picture, you start throwing Enel in the picture, well, then you have Katakuri, which can be pretty good into Sakazuki and can be pretty good into Enel. I'm sorry, let me flip this the other way real quick. So Katakuri can beat Sakazuki and Enel. So you're like, okay, well, like that's all well and good, but like, that's, the more people that come into the meta that are playing, these two decks right here, well, here comes Purple Luffy right here. And Purple Luffy, we'll put him right here. He is Control-C, Control-V, going to be really good into these matchups right here. Enel and Katakuri, just because he just plays with so much tempo. Katakuri is actually like somewhat of a better matchup into Purple Luffy than Enel, but it's still pretty good. So then you're like, okay, well, like Luffy has a pretty solid start, because if more people are going to be playing Katakuri and Enel to try to counter out Sakazuki, then Purple Luffy has a great option. Which is great, right? Especially because you consider the next deck that we're going to talk about that I think people are going to try to play to try to counter out the meta. If people are playing, Katakuri, and, more people are playing Sakazuki, that way more people are going to play Newgate. Now, Newgate is great into Katakuri. It's always been great into Katakuri, but also can very much so beat Sakazuki right here. Now, obviously, this is too big of an arrow, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it. But, it can beat Katakuri, and it can beat Sakazuki. But Purple Luffy can also beat Enel and Whitebeard. So it's like, which one? Like all these decks keep flying into the meta, and then you're like, okay, if people are going to play, Enel, and they're going to play Katakuri, and then I got to beat Enel and Katakuri, so I'm going to play Purple Luffy, or Newgate, and then you have, let's see, the Zoros come in. The Zoros, and where is he at? The Laws. These decks come into play. You're like, okay, I'm trying to counter out Sakazuki. If I can just dodge Sakazuki for a couple rounds and, people just start losing to Sakazuki, then maybe, the people that beat Sakazuki, which are going to be Newgate, possibly, and Purple Luffy, well, now Zoro is going to, why can't I rotate this? There we go. Zoro is going to come into play along with Law. It is just a huge mind game of, okay, I haven't even talked about some of these other decks that, okay, well, Sakazuki can very well beat, I mean, if we're being real, Sakazuki can very well beat Zoro and Law. So, more people are trying to beat, the anti-meta decks with Katakuri and Newgate. Well, then Sakazuki, if you get matched up with them, easily goes into these two decks right here. So it's like, what are people playing for Nationals? And so at that point, I feel like you have to just go based on like population, right? Almost my entire tournament was Sakazuki in the 86 player tournament. The majority of everybody is playing Sakazuki. So you have to ask yourself, if I'm going to Nationals, am I going to be at a point where if I play this deck right here, which is the overwhelming favorite for everyone to play right now, if I play into this deck right here, am I going to have a very bad matchup and possibly lose almost all my games that I play against it? If so, I have to play either Anel or Katakuri or, you know, some other like safe pick, for example. That's pretty good into Sakazuki. But the thing is, the more people that you're expecting to play Sakazuki, the meta might completely flop and be like, okay, well, if everyone's going to play Sakazuki, I'm just going to play Katakuri, right? And you're like, okay, if I'm going into the game, if I'm going into Nats, and I'm like, if people are like all expecting everyone to play Katakuri, and a lot of people are going to play reverse countermeasures and play, reverse countermeasures, if they're playing Katakuri to avoid to beat Sakazuki, can I anti meta and play Newgate and Law and beat the Katakuri that beats the Sakazuki? It's like, what do we play? I don't know. If we're being real, guys, I don't care about any of this right here. I'm going into the tournament and I'm playing Sakazuki. Let me know if you guys what you guys are going to be playing, and if I missed any other decks that, you know, could potentially be like pretty good into a lot of these meta matchups. You know, you can't like get over the fact that like some decks that, you know, can play Yamato pretty well, like Rosinante or, you know, Kid, Captain Kid right here. Could those decks sneak in? Could Ace sneak in? Like, there's a lot of decks that can just, man, like, it's going to be an interesting Nationals. You know, obviously a lot of the best players want to play a deck that has the highest skill ceiling, because if you're the best player, which a lot of people think they are the best player in the world, then of course you're going to play this deck right here. But if you feel like you don't want to play 7 mirrors in a row, you're like, okay, what can I play that has like a much easier matchup? That's when all these other decks come into play. But I could be very wrong on this. I could be very ill prepared going into a meta where it's just straight up a fiesta and no one knows what the hell is going on. So yeah, guys, let me know what you think about this video, and if you think it's also as interesting as I think it is. I think this is so cool because I just don't know what to make of the meta, you know, because there's so many different decks that can come in based on what you might see throughout the tournament, and you're going to need a lot of luck if you're playing these anti decks right here to just not see this right here, or it could be a freaking 500 IQ play where, you know, no one plays Sakazuki and everyone plays these decks over here try to counteract Sakazuki that doesn't even exist. So it's like, I don't know, dude. We'll figure it out. Like I said, guys, join our Discord down below if you'd like to. If you want to check out my Twitch, I stream mainly at night Eastern Standard Time. So I'm going to be playing Revenant 2 again, most likely tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. Feel free to pop in, and yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.